This room is full of exceptional, brilliant women, highly successful, resilient, courageous, full of grit, full of accomplishment. Your business owners, your coaches, consultants, your therapists, some of you are doctors, your healing professionals. No matter where you're at in your journey, I know that you are here because you are ready to play a bigger game. Who feels this? You know that right now, just like me and the women in my community, that something is shifting. Can you sense that on the planet right now? There is something shifting and there is something moving. And women, we work with women in our 50s, 60s, and 70s. And believe me, we are prepared for this. It's like we were born for this exact moment, right? We have gone through our careers and our lives. We've cultivated the skills and expertise. And we have a longing. Who has a longing to move forward in a different way, no matter how accomplished you are? You sense there's something more to come forward to. And if you're here because of that, I know that for a fact, right? Yes, we're ready to step into the larger contribution we have to make, even though we're already incredibly accomplished women. You know, my moral objective, it's like my deepest desire and my gift is to help women step across the finish line, right? I call it the last 5%. It's that last little bit that accomplished women like us are ready to move over. If there's anything, if I have any cause to fight, it's failure to launch. And I don't mean we haven't launched our success. I mean, launching that deeply intrinsic part of ourselves. Does that make sense, you guys? That's beyond what we've already done. And yes, it includes business, right? Yes, it does. It actually does include our business, our life's calling. It includes being wealthy. It includes giving our gift, but it includes stepping into our divine calling, if that makes sense. And we're doing it tangibly here. So today you are in the space to get a taste of the bold, invisible experience and an experience of yourself. Be prepared to be surprised, as Kim said. Let's open to be curious and open that maybe you're going to have an experience you've never had before of your own self. And I'm going to share with you today an incredible offer that we have under the Institute right now in our inaugural year, in our 2025 Quantum, our first month of 2025. So I'd invite you today let's just get centered in our body. You know, one of the secret weapons of the Institute for feminine somatic integration and wholeness is connecting in and regulating and stepping into somatic safety. So just taking a moment to sit back, and we can even just maybe roll our shoulders a little bit. Just let your breath drop in. See if you can feel a little bit of widening in the upper chest. Gentle smile on your face. We can just maybe notice our feet on the ground and lengthen. And just inviting in the word dignity. Just inviting in the word dignity. Just place your attention on that place that you most long to be seen and heard. The place you most want to step into your larger gifts, to contribute more. And just acknowledging right now in the space, the incredible, resilient women you already are, the successful woman you already are. Right? I call women here who are exceptional leaders. I work with women who have done all the work. Yes. But there's another place, right? That we're ready to actually move forward. So just allow that to live a little bit in you, and just let's open to some curiosity. What if I could get traction here and really step out? And let's welcome in the context of having fun today, connecting, really being part of something, being ready to be surprised. Well, this morning we're going to have a chance to get to know each other briefly. It's delightful. It's one of the best parts of this workshop. As Kim said, all the women in my work start here in the space. It's an incredible time. But before we do that and break into a small breakout group to get to know each other, you guys, I would like to start with some context. I want to build a brief context of why bold and visible. Why now? What's so critical and important for women like us? Really, we're in new territory, are we not? The ground is shifting. The ground is shifting beneath our feet. The way we're living and working in the world is changing. Who can feel the tension and the sort of chaos around that? And with that comes an incredible amount of uncertainty, right? But also an incredible amount of opportunity. Who can feel the potential that's happening right now? Because as the structures are falling away, the corporate structures, the old cultural and economic structures, we're being gifted with the opportunity to step onto the stage of our lives so that we can contribute our voice and our gifts to shaping and setting the tone for what comes next. Women, if not us, then who is it? We are the ones who are ready. We're not in our 20s, we're not in our 30s, right? We have done the hard work. And we have something ready. Who feels pregnant almost with, but pregnant with the thing you're here to bring forward? Who feels like, and it's like, it is exactly what's needed right now. It is exactly. And by the way, the world has never been more ready for you and for our unique gifts. Things are shifting. The old ways of thinking, the old ways of being inside the old structures are starting to fall. Yes, and we're seeing that in our world as women step out. There's never been a more important moment when your voice and your gift has been needed on this planet. But in spite of being so incredibly gifted and accomplished, many of us still struggle to really step out and get off the starting block with this larger gift. Can any of you sense that? You're at the end of your career, the top of your career. You've already done the great thing, right? But there's something more for you. And we're struggling with stepping out to be seen and to be heard. With over 2,000 women that I've surveyed in my work and around my work, there's still 5 things, you guys, holding us back. They're not new things, the same old things, but they deserve some light of day and no shame around them, right? Fear of being seen for who I really am is number 1, you guys. And that means being seen for who I am outside of my professional persona, right? Outside of the structure of the association, of the sector that I'm in, outside of this person that I'm known to be as a leader. Fear of stepping out with my authentic, maybe more spiritual language or the flavor of who I am. Fear of showing up for who I am. Fear of being exposed as being a fraud, not new, right? Fear of looking like I'm taking all the credit. I'm too big, I'm too much, still not new. Fear of speaking our truth to power. And fear of really stepping onto the stage of our life, you guys, and being seen and being really heard. It's time for us to break up that old story, and that's what we are incredibly committed to doing right here. It's time to unleash your voice. I always say in my workshops, and I'm sad to say this number has gone down for those of you who've heard this before, but less than 4% of all female-owned enterprises in the United States earn an annual revenue of more than $1 million. Less than 3%. And what we know is that female-owned enterprises are on the rise. Hello. We're taking numbers. We're lifting it up, and yet we're not able to really step forward and fully generate this. And there's so many reasons for that, you guys. Structural reasons, right? Cultural reasons. But there's one reason that really stands out, is that so many of us stand in the shadows behind our business. Does that make sense? Right? Who of you as an entrepreneur stands behind your business a little bit? Behind our clients, yes, behind our brand, behind our sector. There's a way that we're not known. we're not famous in our own way. And we're using that word. We're just being edgy this year at the Institute. We're using the word famous because it hits up against things we don't like, or it hits up against this ego. You know what? We need to be known, point blank, guys. We need to be known, right? And so in order to step into our larger calling, it's going to require us to stand in the power and confidence of our own voice and to take much larger risks than we have so far. Let's just take a moment to sit back, and I just welcome you into a reflection. How many of you feel a potential inside of you that's so much bigger than where you're currently at in your life and business, right? No matter how accomplished you are, you have a divine gift, a God-given gift. You know that. Just allow yourself to sense that for a moment, that God-given divine calling. And I want you to sense it, taking a deep breath with a gentle smile, and allow that felt sense. It doesn't have to have words. And for just a moment, allow it to be as big as it is. You would not have this sense in you, women, if it wasn't your true nature. So just feeling that God-given divine blueprint that's longing, and you have a knowing it is so true. For me, it feels like an ache in my lower body. I feel it in the morning when I get up. I feel it at night when I go to bed. Most of us have had this sense of ourselves since we were very young. And we've done so much work, and we've done such a great job to get, and all the struggles, guys, to get here where we're at. But yet there's still a part not fully expressed. There's more left in you to give and step out into doing, right? Does that make sense? Can you feel that? Allow it to be so big. If this part of you could really get traction and not be ashamed to be seen and heard and not be fully different and take all your gifts, what could you do with this? What is God calling you to do? What's life creation calling you to do? Because what are we compelled to do, women? What are we compelled? And let's just notice the cost. I'm setting this up for you for this workshop. What is the cost of not stepping off of this, not stepping into it? I don't want to go to my grave. I don't have another decade. I don't have 3 more years to get ready and keep getting ready. You're ready. You've done it all. You're ready, right? I'm ready to step into the gift I've been given. And the world, can you see the convergence though? I want you to feel the convergence. Everything that's happening on the planet right now, us in our 50s, 60s, and 70s, at the maturity of our gifts, ready to go. And this pulse, this pregnancy, we're ready to step into and actually do the thing. Who's ready to do the thing finally? Like actually take it out there. And by the way, are we allowed to include ourselves and make some money and have an impact? Yes, and not be like just kind of this hesitancy, right? We're going to come out of hesitancy today, guys. We're going to come out of foot on the gas, foot on the brake. We're going to come across the finish line. This is the urgency. The urgency is the world needs us now. The women that are coming out in our work, put your hands up, you guys. You're taking your work out right now onto the planet in a big, solid, actual way. This is needed. These are healing. These women are stepping into their next level of their gift, not just for themselves, but for others. This is not, and also, this isn't just a servant leadership thing. This is an economy here. We're going to make money while we're doing it and giving our gift. Yeah. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 critical visibility shifts that every woman needs to know in order to take up space and own your voice with incredible confidence and ease in this new way, even if you've been holding back something of yourself for decades. We're going to discover where your voice is locked and how to unleash it. We're going to talk about how hidden cycles of trauma and shame affect women, and how to really connect to your authentic authority, your true voice, And believe me, women, this isn't what you've seen in any other thing before. This is your somatic true nature, so that you can be open to the impulse and taking of life and taking action right now. And how to do all this while being comfortable in your own skin. So let's talk about the 3 critical visibility shifts that are incredibly important for every woman to make. You guys, this will be about 10 minutes. Okay, so just stay with me while we talk about this. And the reason I want to bring this forward to you is because it's incredibly important to have a context in order to go into the experience I'm going to take you through, right? So let's build the context. Why Bold and Visible, by the way? Why does Callie care about this? Why now? Why is this my mission? Why is this community here? Well, I was 13 years old the first time I stood on that street corner. I was cold, I was hungry, and I would have done anything to go invisible. I remember thinking to myself, how did I end up here? I could have sold drugs for Benny to survive, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to hurt anyone else. So here I am, doing what I needed to do. But I wasn't alone on the streets either. My friends April and Marcel, they were watching out for me. We stuck together no matter what. Marcel used to think I had some kind of big mission for my life. He used to be like, yo, Callie, you're going to do big things with your life one day. You just promise me, if anything happens to you out here, you're going to get back up and keep going no matter what. I used to think that I was going to do something important with my life. That's probably never going to happen now. My heart sunk when Big Gina across the street started making a big scene. She's like, yo, skinny girl, I see your little friends are out back watching out for you. Well, isn't that sweet? What makes you think you're so different than us? Newsflash, no one makes it off the street. And that's when I decided, no way. My life is up to me. I'm totally going to make it off the street. I'm going to do something big with my life, just like Marcel said. Don't ask me how I was going to do that. I mean, I'm only 13. I have nowhere to live. I have no skills. I have no job, but something inside of me was meant for more, and I knew it. That night, I rented a hotel room and brought home a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was so good to eat real food. I've been eating peanut butter out of the jar for the last 2 weeks. We even had a real bed to sleep in. Marcel, no kicking. We didn't talk about where I got the money, you guys, because if there's one credo on the street, it is that you do whatever you need to do to survive. But we did talk about the future. Marcel said, Callie, don't listen to Gina. She doesn't know what she's talking about. You're going to do something important with your life. I just know it. Cut to 2025, women. And I've spent over 2 decades of my career leading high impact companies that are making a real difference on this planet. And I've successfully stepped into leadership in very political, male dominated environments. But my journey was not easy. I struggled in hidden patterns of trauma and shame for a long time. I dealt with incredible anxiety and fear. And even at the height of my career success, as a powerful CEO in the boardroom, making big decisions, I would find myself shrinking back, playing small, withholding my authentic voice. Who can feel that? Like, can you sense that? Why? So I surrounded myself with the best mentors, education, and teachers I could find so that I could cultivate the courage and the skills that I needed to play a bigger game. That's why, Christiana, with your heart, that is why today I am dedicated to helping incredibly accomplished women like you and me to unleash your voice, own your story, and step into the impact you were born to give the world, while also, thank you very much, making an abundant flow of income that you deserve to have. And I've said it before, but it deserves saying again. There's never been a more important moment when your gift and your voice has been needed on this planet. Yet, in spite of being so incredibly accomplished, many of us still struggle to step forward and get off the starting block and really get out there with our gift. What I have found is that many of us are stuck inside of chronic invisibility patterns. You know, and Amanda, she named it, right? There's something in her voice. There's something stopping us. Yes, chronic invisibility patterns. They limit our potential and hold us back from being all we can be. We're already that, women. I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. So just taking a brief moment, I welcome you just to close your eyes. I'm going to just say a few words to you, and I want you to take these words in and see if your body feels these words. But I also want you to welcome no shame, no self-blame, just a neutral understanding. Let your body talk. Do you ever secretly feel isolated and unseen, somehow deeply unknown at a core level, invisible, even though you're an accomplished, competent, and maybe even a really well-known public figure? You're an accomplished woman, yet somehow you feel unseen and unknown. Do you ever wake up in the morning with a feeling of anxiety in the pit of your stomach that you might never step into that true gift, the one you know, the one we felt at the beginning of this call, God's divine will for your life? You're almost there, but there's something more, and you're just in that anxiety. I might never step into it. Do you ever shrink back and avoid opportunities to be seen and heard, even though you have something to say? And dear women, you are the exact one who should be saying it. And by the way, you really long to say it. Do you ever feel frozen and immobilized, contracted, unable to move your soul calling forward? Even though deep down, you know you are made for more, you have a calling on your life, and you may even have the vision. And by the way, I'm going to tell you, you already have all the other stuff too. You might already have the platform and everything, but you're still not quite doing it. Yes? Do you ever have your accomplishments go unrecognized? Even though you amplify and support others and celebrate others' accomplishments, but your accomplishments somehow go unrecognized. Right? So we feel like there's some kind of inner flaw, some block, and we've just come, many of us, to accept it. But I'm here to tell you that if you've had any of this, and just let these words drop in, if you've had any of these things, they're not the problem, and you're not the problem. We just haven't made the 3 critical visibility shifts, women, that we all need to make. Once we make them, you'll become an unforgettable communicator who's able to have lasting and powerful impact as you get clear, design your work in the world, and step out to become a trusted authority. And I can tell you that because we have hundreds of women and at least 20 women in our group doing it right now. You will be able to enthusiastically stand in your true value and command premium prices for your transformational products and services, your God-given services that are so needed. And you're going to do all this while feeling joyfully present and comfortable in your own skin. So I want you to just feel that feeling of, what if I was joyfully present and comfortable in my own skin? What if I could get traction in this area? So let's talk about the visibility shifts. These are very important for us to just get a loose and light understanding of. Release, awaken, unleash, and grow. So number one, we're going to release the patterns that are limiting our potential. And women, it's not what you think. We all have hidden power blocks wired into our body. Their evolutionary purpose is to keep us safe, but they're limiting our success. They come from daily stressors and small and large traumas we've carried with us throughout our life. It's possible to let go of these. And we need to if we're going to move into visibility. These power blocks in our nervous system literally shape us. They shape our identity, our posture, our breath, our voice, how we physically move into the world, and metaphorically, they shape how we perceive the world and how the world even responds back to us. But to let go of these things, we have to actually do something we haven't done before. We can't do it the old way, which is through positive psychology, right? Through mindset. Because if you're in the room and you're anything like me, which I know you are because you're here, women, you've done all that work. Yes, we've done all the work. Who's read all the books here? Right? Have you done all the programs? You've been to the highest level teachers, yes? You've sat on the mat. Many of us have sat in therapy because we're very committed to our evolution and our growth, yes? And you even help others. Who mentors others right now? Right? And many of us, lots of us here are counselors, therapists, guides. And there's a little bit of a gap, and it's kind of painful, isn't it, to be inside of this where we help others and yet we're stuck. You know, we help others do this, come to their freedom. You know, Kim mentioned it this morning as a well-known psychotherapist in her world, and yet there's this place, yes? So we've done all this work. We have the credentials. We have the coaching certifications. Who has coaching certifications in the space? How many of you have coaching? Yes. And you've got you've got your brands, your blogs, women. We have, the funnels, and we have everything in place. So what is stopping us? And we also know our patterns. Yes. Most of us who can name your patterns pretty much, right? So, and yet here we are, we're still kind of on the starting block. And I call this the last 5%. All that we did already, women, was exceptionally useful and important. Thank God for it, or we wouldn't be here. Yes, you wouldn't be here. But now the next 5% requires something different. And that's what brings us to visibility shift number 2, which is the secret weapon of the Institute for Feminine Somatic Integration and Wholeness. And that is, we need to awaken and activate our body. Our bodies are full of intelligence and creativity. Yeah, I love the hearts that Christiana puts up. But we are stuck. We have spent so much time stuck in our head, disconnected from our incredible resources, women, because that makes sense. We live in a world that's in a masculine corporate reason, logic is valued above all else. Science, reductionism, and all of that is important and good, and it's done a lot for us. But for me, and for my incredible women in my community that I serve, being disconnected from our bodies leads us to being stuck in states of force and stress and overextension. We're driving hard, we're successful, we're making money, or we're trying and we're pushing. But our endocrine system is crashing. We're depleted, we're tired, we're exhausted, and we're disconnected from why we're even here. Or the opposite state, which is frozen and immobilized, contracted away from life. There's a way we're not able to generate the energy that we need to bring our soul's calling forward. Women, we can, in this state, be in foot on the gas, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, foot on the brake, never getting traction. And like I said earlier, I don't have another decade to spin my wheels at the edge of my gift. Being disconnected from our body steals our feminine presence. It steals our wealth building ability. It steals our legacy. And I have found over the years that the incredible way to wake us up is through building what I call somatic safety and working with our voice, our posture, our deep nervous system, to create a platform for us to really step forward and be seen and heard, and to do that together with others. We can't do this alone. We can't be a lone wolf anymore, because for years I was a lone wolf. And that brings us to our next visibility shift, which is to unleash your voice and own your story. In a world, women, where everyone has credentials and Instagram fame and certifications and platforms and brands, right? And PhDs, the one thing you have that nobody else has is your story. Your story is the connective tissue that brings trust, vulnerability, and leadership forward into who you are. But more than that, sourcing and crafting your own story is deeply healing. There's a way we're coming back to wholeness. It's a gift of generosity to yourself and others. And it's the way that we become magnetized and get known. And that is activating who we actually are. It's your DNA, women. So if you're wondering, okay, what exactly is my next step? You maybe even have a clear vision for where you want to go. Yes? Or maybe you don't have a clear vision. Either way, it's your story that will take you there and lay the actual foundation for your next steps. Powerfully healing and powerfully compelling. You don't need to go anywhere else. You've already got it. It's in your nature. And by the way, as I said before, it's inside of the struggle. It's not inside of just the thing you love. You will fall in love with it. And number four is growing in community. I can't underscore enough, women, how important it is to be surrounded by an evolutionary community. I spent so many years at the top of my success as a well-known public figure, going it alone. How many of you feel like that lone wolf, right? Going it alone, working hard. I was proud of that. I was proud of that. I was resilient. I was proud. I made it. And yet, women, I was never make it to where I am today had I not built an incredible network, an incredible evolutionary community. And that when I say that, I mean women who can support each other and celebrate each other, but also who hold each other accountable. And that is what this community has been and is for each other here, in a way that goes way beyond what Callie could ever do, right? Who feels that, like, the women in our community, there is something that is alive, that is so much larger. We create a platform, we create the context, we help you all the way, we have skills that go beyond, but really it comes alive, and it is alive, and we're so excited about that in these times. And so these are the visibility shifts. We have to release these hidden nervous system patterns that are really reflexes that are going to keep running unless we deal with them. We have to awaken and activate our body, unleash our voice, and own our story, women, and grow in community. And this is the platform and the context on which our work is done, and on which the experience that I'm going to take you through is sitting inside of. I'd like to take just a moment. I'm just going to call on a few of you, actually. So let me just move you around on the screen. Before we do our experience, and we're going to take a break, I would like to, and thank you for being willing and available, I'm going to call on some of our women to speak to this, because Callie can talk. And one of the things in our work actually is we don't talk a lot. We experience, because our left hemisphere just is very rigid, yes? And it knows what it knows. But let's call on some women to share their experience inside of these shifts. And I'd like to call on Vicki. Vicki, go ahead. Everyone, you can put it on speaker view. Vicki Avila, amazing woman in our community, a leader in our work. Vicki, can you introduce yourself and give us a share about how does this ring true for you, and what were you dealing with, and where are you now?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everybody. As Callie said, I'm Vicki Avila. I'm in Astoria, Oregon, in the U.S. And yes, I was and am the woman Callie's speaking about. And when I came to this work, first through this very workshop, and then the very first of the 12-week program that she offers is I knew I had something more to give. I had been a psychotherapist. Some of you may have seen my story. And I had given up my practice several years before, but knew I had more to give based on everything I had. I was one of those women, read all the books, done all the things, but I was terrified to be visible. And Callie had said to me after this workshop, when we met one-on-one, if you want to have a movement, how can you do that without being visible? So literally, as a result of being here, the first thing I did was I was able to stand up and deliver my first online group program for women, which I would not have been able to do had I not come into this work and develop that somatic safety that you just mentioned, Callie,
Right.
and done it in community. And then beyond that, just to say one more thing, I then did exactly what Callie just described of sourcing and crafting my story with the help of the work in this community around my biggest pain, which was the closing of my psychotherapy practice of 25 years. And was able to tell my story on stage, which I also would not have been able to do. I could barely sit in church with 6 people and speak up, or sit on a Zoom room like this and have this many eyes on me. And I stood in front of, a stage and a live stream of close to 1,000 people and told my story last fall. And now I'm standing up my own body of work to help other therapists and mental health professionals like me to not have to do what I did. All of which is because of these 4 critical shifts that Callie's work has helped me make. And I literally could not have done my first program, my story on stage, or developing my new body of work without this.
Vicki, thank you so much. One of the gifts of our community is our women are willing to come out and talk about it and be honest. We're deeply honest with each other, you guys. We just get to the crux of it. You're such a gift to our community. You're such a support for the women. Vicki is always here for everyone. That's the thing. We're here for each other. And thank you for sharing that, because we want to see, tangibly, what does this mean? Right? Thank you, Vicki. It's so incredible. Sumy, rock. Go ahead, Sumy.
Thank you, Callie. Yeah, what I want to share today. Oh, I haven't said that much. My voice. Well, first of all, I've told my story on virtual stage and twice in the Bold and Visible live monologues here in Calgary, Canada. And those were all 3 were threshold moments for me. And really what stands out in that experience is how much fun I had, how at ease I felt. I come from we don't share, we don't air our dirty laundry or things like this kind of family culture. And there I was. And, I continue to this day to say, oh, wow, who is this leader? And I want to share with you today that I faced a fork in the road in 2022 as I was in the community, in the practices of Bold and Visible, and in the mentorship of Callie and the leadership of Callie. And I will tell you that my karate students from days past, because I ran a karate school for over 2 decades, would never have said, Sumy will shrink or, kind of hide and collapse and think, oh, it's too hard or it's too much. But I was at this fork in the road with my current business in the decision of, do I rebuild this from the pandemic and the effect that had on my fitness business? Or do I leave it and let it go? And the old me would have said, it's too hard. I can't, it's too much. But Callie will say, this work helps you bring online your greater resources, your truer self. And that's what I really felt like when I stood at that crossroads and I said, I'll do whatever it takes to bring this business back and to take this business to its fullest potential, which is something as an entrepreneur, I'd never really reached the fullest potential of many of the businesses I've run. So I'm going to celebrate with you because this week, I was with my team. It's the new year. We had our Christmas party. I gave 2 5-year awards, Tiffany necklaces, to
Oh,
2 of my staff members, a 10-year award, a beautiful pair of emerald earrings for my 10-year staff person. We had the best year ever in the history of my company. In the last 3 months, my revenues and my workout numbers have been historic highs. And I thank and attribute so much of the way I'm able to stand in leadership now, not only to bring that company from the brink of closing to the greatest success we're having, but boy, I'm telling you, my big, hairy, audacious goal just got bigger again, bigger and hairier. And we're going to be in that 4% that you talked about, Callie, earlier.
amen.
So thank you. I wanted to share that and celebrate because it's a really high moment for me right now with my business. And that doesn't even begin to talk about what I'm up to next with Bold and Visible.
Wow, congratulations, Sumy. Congratulations. So well earned.
Thank you.
Like, what a thing for us, for you in your tenure and you're bringing it to fruition. And I love that, you guys. Giving Tiffany, like, that's pretty badass. Okay, I want to be on your team. I love it. And yes, you guys, this is it. We're doing tangible work. And Sumy really has given herself all in. She's all in. And you're all in for your team. I mean, what an amazing place to be on your team.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for sharing that, Sumy. Thank you so much.
I feel supported by my community too. It is amazing to have this evolved group of women standing with me and for me. And those were difficult times, and now they're great times. And you know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, but wow.
Right. Gorgeous. Right. We're here for the hard times, guys. And we're here for the good times. Right. And we're here to create that future. Love it. Thank you, Sumy. Let's go to Nora. Nora Ring.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nora Ring. I'm in Calgary. And I probably should have planned this a little bit better, Callie, but this when I first started Bold and Visible, I was lost. And most of my personal life was in destruction. And I was hiding back and not sure where to go from there. And so, I've done the Unleash Your Voice, the VIP program, and now Mastery. And it's been really a process of unpeeling the parts of me that are the parts that aren't me, and really coming to who I am. And the community has just been exceptional to be able to be in a safe place. And that's what Callie really has created, is a safe place to, peel off something that's not me and then show up with something that is me. One of the hardest parts that I've, just kind of let go of is my voice. And do I actually have something to say? Well, yes. I make myself laugh when I say I have something to say, because I'm never really sure what's going to come out of my mouth. And, the journey has been a real discovery of who I am. And it really, one of the highs was the monologues in October, and sharing my story, Do I Dare? And, being on stage wearing a pink suit and kind of going, yeah, I do dare. And it's yeah, it's been life-changing. And my friend Joanne is on the screen, outside of, well, she's in Bold and Visible now. She's known me for years prior to this work and has seen that kind of, the transformation and where I'm going. And it's exciting. I have a very strong feeling of who I am, and I know how to take a look at something and say, you know what, that's not me. I'm not going to participate in that, or, making the choice intentionally and saying, you know what, that's me. So last year it was paddleboarding, which has now, become part of my life. So that's kind of where I've come from and where I am today and moving forward.
Awesome, Nora. Thank you so much. And everyone, Nora is lifting up her new body of work, gorgeous body of work, helping women over 50 step into their new era of sexy. It's solid, it's real. You've got to watch her story on our YouTube channel. It's crazy, it's amazing. And Nora is a brilliant woman. She's a corporate leader, CPA, right? She's very, very smart and never could have imagined, by the way, be prepared to be surprised, right, Nora? You couldn't have imagined when you first came in the work that, oh my God, this is my calling. So, because that's what we're finding, women, you already have it in you. You don't have to go anywhere else to find it. Does that make sense? Nora, how do you feel about the new thing you're stepping into?
Well, you're right. Be prepared to be surprised. And yet, when we came up with the story and the theme and the work that I'm stepping into, of course that's it.
Right.
It's just brilliant, and it just makes me smile every single day, and just brings joy for sure. Very excited.
Right.
Yeah.
What's been wanting, the question you want to ask yourself, everyone, is what's been wanting to come forward that's not yet been seen? What does God's will or life of creation want to express through me? Yes, like what is yet to be expressed? And sometimes we don't know. And really, what we're saying here is we have to relax our body and do those shifts in order to even find it, because we've been so clamped down in survival. We cannot, even though we've already achieved all this stuff, right? What's blocking it? We have to create space to be able to even access what's truly living in there. Just before we go into to our practice, I want to just ask Joanne Flynn. Joanne, do you want to just say a few words? Because you're a dear friend of Nora. What have you seen her shift? Because I've never heard you share that. So go ahead. I hope that's okay, Nora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I came to Calgary from Morristown, New Jersey, USA. And I came all the way just to see Nora. And I was so surprised and so amazed at all the transformation of all the women that I saw. And, a couple things that I'm going to share. Nora has said this publicly, so I'm not speaking out of term, but, she basically said to me, I feel after this program, I will never be alone. And when I heard her say that, I was like, there's something special about this. So, and I've seen the transformation of her wanting to like step out and be heard and do her thing and not sit back. So I'm super excited for Nora and super excited for the program, which I'm now in the 12-week, and I'm really loving it.
Thank you, Joanne. What I love about Joanne Sher is I remember when I met you and you're like, we had a retreat, everyone, after our beautiful 2 evenings of gorgeous performances. We had a 2-day live retreat, which we're going to have. We'll let you know about that again this year.
Yeah.
And we said to Joanne, I said, oh, so you're going to come? She's like, well, no, I don't think we'll see. But you came.
I did. Yeah.
Right? There was resistance there, but she came, and now she's part of our gorgeous community. So
yeah, there was a lot of resistance because like I didn't want to get involved in something else. And I, came and I did my thing. I really wanted to come see Nora, and I didn't want to spend the weekend, doing a thing. But, I said yes. And I was so glad I did, because what an amazing group of women, What an amazing, experience from Callie, and I'm really glad I said yes, and I was invited too.
Right. Yes, because we do very curate our community very carefully, women, to make sure that, women who are ready to step into this level, because we're doing the real thing here, right? The 5% takes something different. So yeah, Joanne was
Yeah.
invited into our community and invited into our work. One last share, because I want to make sure, Sher, would you be willing to share? Cher's going to share. Cher's a counselor and she has a master's in social work. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. So what has changed for me? So I really relate, Callie, when you talk about the hesitancy.
Mm.
Because I'm definitely a person who has been contracted and frozen and safe and small in my role. And it's been a very successful role, 20 years working at a women's shelter and supporting life-changing
Yeah.
things for women. And I felt safe here, but that calling, knowing that there was something more, how do I do more? But then I would devalue that calling for more because it's like, but I'm already doing enough.
Right.
I'm so working and dedicated. So that commitment to really over giving and making sure others were expanding and healing, and really to neglecting myself. But of course, denying that because I was already living a wonderful life and doing really purposeful work. So coming here has really helped me unblock and find safety that I can. I can take up more space. I can go on the line in my story. It's time to bring my light out of the shelter. And that so resonates with me. And I'm continuing to just really kind of find that place and comfort with visibility. Because yes, I invested time and to get my coaching, my life coaching, but that last little bit about visibility, stepping out, how do I do it bigger, reach more people, let go of the safety I have here and find safety out there and safety
Yeah.
within me. And I think that's been the real gift of moving forward and through and into the mastery and into finding my body of work. So thank you.
I love that too, because I know a lot of the women in this room are going to resonate with you, Cher, because, Cher's at the top of her career, right? And she's not ready to just throw in the towel and, go hiking every day, although she loves hiking and she's a nature woman. Like there's something else for her to do. And yet, what is it? And it requires her and actually feels that longing. I know Cher feels that longing. Her gift is not fully given yet. She gave it, those years in leadership, right? But so she's developing her unique body of work and being safe and bold and powerful and clear and having the structure to do that. And she's going to spend her next decade doing that. Yes, other than just kind of being a consultant to the shelter or doing more of what she's already done. Because that was great, right? But her actually, and for everyone here, she shares in service, not to her audience has changed. She's going to be helping women just like her at the highest levels of leadership now, right? So this is where you're moving into a new space, women. I know that each and every one of you have had your own life experience. And I know that you're here because there's something else you want to develop and step into, or you're in it and you're not yet fully, seeing the fruit of it yet or owning it, right? And so that's just like, thank you so much for that share, because so many of us can resonate. I already had the career. But you know what? And I got called back many times. And I just knew in my body, no, there's something more for me. It would have been easy and safe to make a paycheck, guys. Believe me, easier in many ways, but not others. It's harder not to be who we are. Who can feel that? It's harder not to be who I am. It takes more energy to not be who I am. Yeah.
I'd made bold moves in my life, like leaving the city and moving to a farm to raise our daughter in nature. I wrote and published a book with my husband. We owned and ran a company together. Right. So I was used to taking chances. And yet I would say at the time that I met Callie, I was quite depleted. Everything looked great on the outside, but on the inside, it was never enough. And I was so uncomfortable talking about myself or talking about what I created, even though people would tell me I'm inspiring or it's beautiful what you've done, what you've written. I just was not at home in myself. And so I put myself into Callie's program. I registered for the program. And I'll tell you, I would say it was in the first number of days, inside of the first 2 weeks, what happened for me is my body started relaxing and opening. And so without doing anything consciously or trying anything, I found myself with more energy and just walking lighter in the world. I started being my own friend. Like, well, why can't you do that? You're just as qualified or just as competent, or what's wrong with giving things a try? Like I started having a new kind of conversation with myself right out of the gate. And I worked with Callie inside of that first program, and she helped me identify and find my story, my personal story. And I took that story to the stage. I delivered that story live in front of 400 people at a grand theater in the fall of 2023. I had never done anything like that before, and it was exhilarating. And I learned that my story is about love. And so inside of working with Callie, I kept working and mining and realizing that there were things I was doing in my life. I was putting blocks that came between myself and my husband. I was defensive. I was resistant, tense, sarcastic, competitive, like power blocking. And those blocks dissolved inside of that very first program. So I kept going, right? When something works, I kept going. And I enrolled in the Business Mastery and Implementation program. And that was where Callie helped me take my personal story and find my own offering, my own body of work. And so you can maybe guess, given I realized my story was all about love, and given that the blocks that disappeared had my husband actually come right in and celebrate me and support me and cheer me on in a way that I'd never experienced before. And so my body of work is called Unlock Your Passion. And I work with women in long-standing relationships to help them find the joy and the intimacy and the self-expression inside of their relationship, like I did, to make those same shifts that I did in working with Callie directly. And so I'm so delighted to tell you, like, I've created and launched a pilot program. The women that I've attracted are high level accomplished. I've charged premium prices that are really reflective of the value and transformation I'm delivering. And the feedback has been phenomenal, phenomenal. So I'm on track for essentially getting a result and making the same amount of money that I made at the height of my career in my very first year. So things are still unfolding, and the presence and confidence that I have, that Callie saw in getting to know me as I came out of lone wolf being by myself to working and being known and seen by Callie and by this incredible community that Callie had invited me to join Team Bold and Visible and the Institute. And so now I coach and facilitate within the Business Mastery and Implementation program to help women like me take their personal story and bring it out into the world as a legacy offering. And so I don't want to say that's the end, because it keeps getting richer and bigger, but I appreciate that you're here and that you're going to understand why it all started with this workshop. And I don't know how many of you can relate that this was the workshop that changed everything.
Thank you to the women, all of you, and those of you who haven't had a chance to share, because we need to, bring this into our experience. But can you just raise your hand? Those of you, Tinush, everyone else, Maureen, just show of hands who's in our community, who's building your business right now, who's taking it out there. Sherry, right? These are women actually doing it, you guys, not a concept, not a course. They are doing it. And I want you to all come into our community. I'm going to show you how to come in so you can see them and watch them in action. Yes, amazing. Stephanie, and so, everyone here on the screen that I see. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this a little bit differently today. I'm going to take you into an experience. Before that, I'm going to share with you our offer, because I don't want to leave it to the end, because that deprioritizes it. And I want to let every one of you know, because I know you're here, that you want to find out how you can work with us. And so I want to share that with you, so that when we go into our deep experience, then we can just hold our experience. Does that make sense? We can just end our process together inside of our community and inside of sharing. Can you feel like we've already kind of built a bit of community here? Like inside of this group, as we bring our collectiveness together. So I want to share this to you because we have, as I said before, in 2025, launched the Institute for Feminine Somatic Integration and Wholeness. And that means that 10 years of programs and transformation are coming under one roof. And we are incredibly excited about it. And our community is absolutely on fire. And today we have 20 seats open in our signature program. And if you qualify, that means you come in as a founding cohort member, and you come under the incredible VIP structure and support that we have available for you, that all of these women have come under. But I want to share with you first, very briefly, because it's really important you hear this, because this isn't for everyone. It really isn't for everyone. We curate our program very carefully. This is who I can help. This program is for women. This offer is for women who have genuine knowledge, experience, especially experience, and expertise that help women or people solve the big problems in life and business. I curate my program very, very carefully, everyone. That means I have it's very strict but really reasonable criteria for qualifying women to come into our private programs. That means you're probably an entrepreneur, leader, you're a coach or therapist or a healing professional. It means you are self-aware, self-responsible, and you are determined to bring your gift forward into this world in these times. You want to build your tribe and you want to grow your clients and your business at higher prices, but you really want to do that while being deeply authentic and making the most powerful impact you're here to have. But if for any reason you feel like you cannot, or you're maybe not willing to do whatever it takes to come through the 5%, then the work that we do in our community is probably not for you. And I say that because it's very important to qualify yourself as you're sitting here. This work is for you if you're an action taker who is willing to go all in and fully engage in our proven processes and our community. That means you're coachable, you're open, you're resourceful. Yes. And I always say, we're not going to get you to do anything weird. And then, yeah, maybe a little bit. We have a lot of fun. But what we know is the feminine somatic integration method works. And if you work with us and you stay open, coachable, and resourceful, there's no end to what you can achieve. And you can hear that from the women today. No matter what you're dealing with, everyone, no matter where you've been stuck, believe us, we've seen it all, our team, our community, and we're here to help you get through it. Maintaining 100% success rate is my goal. And that means if for any reason you guys, if any one of you women feel I'm just really kind of comfortable the way I am, or, it's, again, it's not for you. It's for women who are on fire to move forward. Does that make sense? What you really want to be asking yourself, everyone, is this. Like, if you came back here 3 years from now, or if you were having a conversation with me 3 years from now, what would have had to have happened in your life and your business for you to say confidently to me and to these women here, I did it. I'm standing in my legacy, like Sumy, like Sher, right? Like Nora, like Vicki, like Kim. I did it. And I'm in the moment, Callie. I got through it. What would have had to have happened? And what's the cost, women? We don't have another decade. What's the cost if we don't do it? More importantly, even, what's your life like if you can step into that, right? What would it mean to you? What would it mean to you to actually get traction here and move forward? So this is it. It's a moment for all of us. We're doing it collectively, we're doing it individually. And so here's what I want you to do next. It's really simple. And I'm telling you this now because we always, right, Sumy and Kim, we always fill our discovery sessions before the end of our calls. Yes. And so I want you to go over to itstimetogetvisible.com/discovery. And we'll ask our team to put that up. It's timetogetvisible.com/discovery. You can choose an appointment time, a scheduled time that works for you. There will be a discovery form. It's really important you fill it out, you guys, because it's fast and unobtrusive. Yes, but what I need to know is who you are and where you want to be in 2025 and beyond. That's it. It's going to be the best 30 to 45 minutes you spend working on your life and business. And we're going to talk about where you want to go and curate you to see if you qualify and you're a fit to be inside of this community and program. And you guys, if you're not, we have places we point you towards, and it's no shame in any of this, but we're really calling in the women who are on fire and ready to go. Does that make sense? You can see the level of women here because we've done this work. Yes? Amazing. And what I want to say is, again, you know, and I've made my schedule available. And Kim, can you wave your hand? Kim she's a senior woman in our community. She's been through everything with us, and we've taken her out to her own incredible body of work. As a psychotherapist, she's been able to step forward now and give this incredible gift. It's thrilling. And she is also here to guide and support. So I want to say a few things about what I'm going to take you through right now and set some context for it. We're going to give you one of our seminal practices, light is what I would say, because we want to give you enough to really have a felt sense of yourself in a new way. And we want to give you enough, we want to give enough for us to be able to have some amazing shares and a real new depth of understanding, right? But we're not going to take you into the deep, deep work that requires another level of container. Does that make sense? So I'm going to take you through a practice today that I designed that works with your nervous system and shifting between nervous system states. And it helps you just let go of the rigid sort of left hemisphere, right? The overthinking, over-identifying left hemisphere, and just allows you to drop into your body and let your body speak to you. And in this, what I call it oscillating. Does everyone get a sense of what that is? We're moving bit by bit. We're going to move into and out of some felt sense and direct experience. And I want you to know that a couple of things we're going to do here. We're going to commit to do this work with no shame, first of all. Yes? So can I see hands from everyone? Whatever I feel and experience, we're going to have no shame. We're going to be curious and neutral. So we want to start working with ourselves from a place of depth and just like, isn't that interesting, Callie? That's an interesting experience. Because we want to start, we've been thinking ourselves, right? We've been using behavioral opportunities. We've been using, cognitive psychology, belief system repatterning, all the things that are excellent and have got us to where we're at right now. But the 5% requires something different. So we're going to have a felt sense of ourselves, a somatic sense of who we are. We're going to find some things about ourselves that our body's going to speak to us about it, about where there's some fundamental blocks potentially happening. But when we find that, we should be excited about that, you guys. Because underneath that is part of you that's always wanted to be expressed. So we get really excited about it, but we're just letting ourselves feel into this. I want you to know that I'm going to take you into a felt sense of your future self, but I want to be really, really clear about this. This is not a visioning. I'm not going to get you to imagine anything. You're not going to do a vision board or set a goal or decide what you want for your life or any of the other stuff we've already done, right? That's all good, but let's set that aside. Because I'm going to take you into the felt sense of who you already are. You're not going to think your way in here. And by the way, I can't do this for you. Only you can do it. And there's no way we're coming out of a contraction, women, that has been a survival style contraction that has blocked us from feeling the full sense of this, right? So this is pretty exciting. This is pretty exciting. Let me ask, I want to ask Kim. So Kim, come on up here. Anything that you'd say to women about this experience, the seminal experience we take them into? Any pointers for them? Anything for them to think about or hold?
The biggest piece, I think, is to give yourself permission to have an experience, right? So many times that I know for myself, it's like, no, I'm not gonna let them get me. I'm gonna stay the way I am, and as crazy as that sounds, that's where my mind goes to. So that would be the first piece, would just be like, again, curious. What if I was open? What if it was okay and I could be safe and just let myself have this just inside of this container today and see what happens from there?
Thank you so much. Tracy Treidel, what would you say?
Coming at it just really neutral with no expectation, as openly as you can. And that kind of follows what Kim was saying, but setting off your mind and setting it aside for a minute is key to really being in the feeling of it.
Tinush, what would
I'm
you
glad
say?
glad I didn't have the apple in my mouth. Um, I would say allow your body to really speak to you
Gorgeous.
because it will surprise you in ways you could never imagine. I mean, when I went through this experience, I didn't realize how contracted my body was. And I didn't realize, I didn't understand. I had never even heard of somatic before. But when I went through this experience, this was a game changer and it changed my life. So really be like, just give your body permission to speak to you through the experience. That's what I would say.
Okay, gorgeous. Thank you so much. Let's just do two more really quickly. Sherry and then T. Sherry.
I would say just to really take a deep breath and be in the room. Forget
Oh,
about anything that comes after the call or anything that came before the call. Just take a deep breath, hear that breath, and just stay in the room, and you'll have the experience.
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry. T.
Yeah, I'd say, just trust yourselves, right? Just trust yourself that you're going to find it, but it's not going to be here. It's going to be in your body. And so if you just sort of let go and be open and it's there, so you can trust that.